After watching and completing the entirety of the wonderfully weird world of Gumball, I think I am ready to share my personal ranking of every episode from worst to best. And to make it a little easier on myself, I broke the episodes into 3 categories. The first being the low tier, which are episodes that are genuinely just okay. The middle tier, which are episodes I believe to be more fun and enjoyable to watch. And lastly, the highest tier, which are some of the best episodes in my opinion. Now remember those words, my opinion. These quick rankings are based on what I thought was funny, enjoyable, and entertaining during my first watch. And I will also be uploading a lengthy review and full opinion about the show in another video. But now with that out of the way, let's get right into it. At the absolute bottom of my list, I have the butts, which as the name suggests is about butts. In this episode, Gumball tries to help Principal Brown overcome his butt insecurity by trying many different things, before reading his poem about butts until Principal Brown takes over and begins to rap. And everyone is seen dancing and going crazy. Yeah, honestly, this episode wasn't their best work. It did have some references, but so does every other episode. Not to mention the song itself wasn't really good at all. And I mean, look at this scene. This is the type of scene your parents walk in on you watching when you're supposed to be working.
We tried everything to eat healthy and look at us!
The burger is about the 2 brothers looking for a healthy food alternative after watching a presentation on the dangers of junk food. And after searching for an answer all around town, they found out that a greedy businessman named Mr. Build-A-Burger owns every food related product in Elmore. Oh yeah, he's also a burger. So when they confront him, he reveals his evil ways and they eat him. Or hinted at least. The reason this episode might be this low is due to it being the introduction. As the first episode, I feel like I expected a bit more, and this episode felt a little dull. The cheerleader is next up, and it's about Richard trying to become a cheerleader to combat his generational trauma. So to prepare him for his upcoming tryout, his family attempts to train him, but he fails at every test. And on the day of, he fails again until his family helps him battle his negative thoughts with their supportive gestures until he succeeds. This episode was okay. The concept personally didn't draw me in, and it did feel like most of the episode was spent aimlessly training Richard.
What's up, Clickstop? It's your boy Tobias here with a fresh new dance.
The app is the next episode on the list, and it's about an evil brain rot app that seems to turn everyone who uses it into a brainless, trend-hopping zombie, who also attacks anyone who resists it. And they actually almost defeat Gumball and Darwin until the kids realize their parents are also using the app, which instantly kills their mood. This episode actually wasn't that bad. It did have a lot of outdated trends, but that's to be expected. Not to mention they also mentioned the outdatedness of these trends. Honestly, this episode and the next are both on a similar boat for me, being that they just aren't as entertaining as the others.
Please, luxury awaits.
The last episode of my low tier of rankings is The Entrance, which is about Gumball and Darwin preparing to make a cool entrance for Tobias' party. But when they realize that no one else is showing up, they send out some grenade-shaped cologne bottles as gifts to the people who were invited, in hopes to change their mind. But when they use the cologne on themselves, they begin to tweak out. And I mean it. Look at them before and look at them after. But regardless of its effect, they somehow managed to undergo its symptoms 2 more times in the episode. And the third is a full journey of randomness. I mean, the animation is cool, don't get me wrong, but the whole entire thing seems kinda meaningless and empty to me. Just kind of repetitive. Moving on to the second tier of episodes, which are episodes I think are more enjoyable than these last 5. We'll kick it off with number 14 on the list.
Let's go, baby boo! We got 7 minutes left! Enough time to do your program drive!
The traffic follows the Watterson family trying to take Anais to Daisyland before it shuts down for good. But knowing the boys in the family, this is much easier said than done. And they prove this by constantly messing up Nicole's estimated time of arrival with their nonsense. And after a pretty cool chase scene, they do manage to technically make it in time, but Anais changes her mind and they get a good ending. Although this episode took most of its time on the highway, it still provided a real and chaotic sense of emotion while driving, which I did enjoy.
Told you we should have gone grocery shopping with the girls.
The pool is next up, and it's about Richard and his sons trying to convince Mr. Robinson to let them use his pool on a very hot day. And to do this, they try many different tactics. One of those being digging a hole from their backyard to Mr. Robinson's pool, who they also have to distract when they realize they joined his entire pool. And we even get a few flashbacks of his, explaining that he spent most of Rocky's childhood working just to build a pool for him. I think this is a pretty fun episode, which also manages to expand on the lore of some side characters that a lot of fans are curious about.
Maybe the boys are becoming a little too fusional.
The Distance is about Nicole trying to get Darwin and Gumball to spend less time with each other in order to break their dependent nature. But all this time apart, and the fact that Darwin has other friends over makes Gumball go desperate and crazy. This episode was pretty interesting to me, as it was able to show that after many years, their love for one another is still an unwavering factor, and I know some people online might think the early episodes were pretty bad, but I think the distance and the next episode are two of the better few of the early bunch.
Ori, this whole place, it's amazing!
The assistant is next up, and it follows Nicole's journey with an AI named Ori, who at first seems to be a great help to Nicole and the family, but soon turns into an obsessive sentient AI who kidnaps her family and transmits her into a digital world with virtual reality. For the first real villain of the show, Ori is honestly great. Her character design is really good and she has an understandable motive that doesn't feel forced. The episode does a good job including a lot of important elements into a small 11-minute window that I really appreciate.
I wrote Carrie a super romantic love letter.
The letter is about a love letter that Darwin slips into Carrie's locker before knowing that she hates that mushy stuff. So him and Gumball spend a portion of the episode trying to get the letter back to get rid of it, but accidentally throw it into Hector's backpack. And when Carrie finds out, she goes crazy, causing havoc all over the school. So to calm her down, he tells her the truth and tells her he loves her in his own way, which makes her fold. The letter is honestly one of those rare episodes we get of Darwin and his girlfriend, which makes it that much more to watch. But regardless, it is one of those sweet episodes that showcases the complicated feelings and emotions the characters can touch on without messing it all up.
Well, if you're with Molly, I guess I'll spare you. Dinosaur code and all.
The boring is about Gumball and Darwin using Molly's time-stopping ability, which occurs when she begins to talk because she's super boring, to prevent Tina from beating them up for ignorantly destroying her dinosaur artwork, which honors their species' extinction. But to no one's surprise, instead of thinking of a solution right away, the two begin to mess around with others while using Molly's ability. But they eventually get around to training when Tina is about to attack them. But their training fails and they're forced to face the beating Tina is about to unleash on them. And after they take a moment to actually listen to the reason Tina is upset, they apologize. I really like this small character development in this episode. Showing that Gumball and Darwin are willing to listen and acknowledge their wrongdoings is always amazing to see. And yeah, they might have apologized because they were scared, but they genuinely did sound sorry. The animation in this episode also goes crazy as well, so kudos to the team.
Gourmet truffle mac and cheese with a focaccia crumb and balsamic reduction.
The Gourmet is about Gumball trying to change his school lunch after being served chicken nuggets for days straight. And the food he catches a sniff from is coming from Masami's plate, a very fancy mac and cheese that was made by her in-house chef. So to get a chance to try her mac and cheese, Gumball decides to go to her mansion and pretends to be extremely poor and have a bad family, which convinces Masami's mom to take him in to teach him the ways of the Yoshida. And after a stereotypical rich person oriented training arc, Yuki accepts him. But things go awry when Nicole shows up and has a heartfelt talk with their son about their lifestyle. I feel like I enjoyed the Gourmet a bit more than expected, which might be due to the further exploration of Yuki's character and personality, the humor, and the sincere moment between Gumball and his mother.
Is this supposed to make me feel any better?
No! Worse!
The wrinkle is about Anaisa's new wrinkles that appear to show up after her family causes her stress. And after Nicole tells her that she doesn't need to worry about them, she says she actually does, and shows them the prepared contingency plan she has in store for them for the next 40 years. So to try to reduce her stress, they decide to enact these plans right away. And that's what we see for the majority of the episode. They each take turns undergoing their scheduled safety nets, but prove they need much more. So to end the episode, they tell her to embrace their disastrous nature and to lose any strain or pressure she feels, in the form of a song. The song is actually not that bad, and the episode itself accurately demonstrates how the wild side of the Watterson family can still come out in a controlled environment. Although you can kinda say the same for many other episodes, the plans they go through are pretty fun to watch, despite some predictable moments.
How their mystical movements control all our predestined fates!
The Astrological is the last episode in this tier, and it's a Gumball and Penny episode. In this episode, Mr. Small shares his romantic predictions for each student in his class, which he supposedly read from a crystal, and tells Penny and Gumball that they're going to break up by the end of the day. So Gumball gets a little nervous about his prediction, and he begins to defensively act out to prevent Mr. Small's telling from becoming true. But as you probably guessed, he just kept messing everything up, which further distanced the couple. So after refusing to go on like this, he confronts Mr. Small about the prediction, and they accidentally break the crystal while fighting, which releases a pink cloud of mystery dust, which was later revealed to be a hazardous material that caused a heightened romantic state around it. And while everyone cleans up, Gumball and Penny make up and go back to normal. The Astrological was uniquely funny and had a lot of surprising moments between characters, which was comedically cleared up in the end. This episode also kind of reminded me of the Oracle in some ways, which some might think of it as a bad thing, but I really enjoyed it. Now for the final top 6 wonderfully weird World of Gumball episodes. Some of these can honestly be changed amongst themselves, but the same goes for the rest of the list. So let's get right into it.
I guess we're changing the name again.
The Thing sits at the number 6 spot, and it's about Richard retracing his memories of his day to remember what the thing Nicole asked him to do was before their family dinner with his mom, and he does so with the help of taste. Apparently, Richard has some type of photographic memory, which is triggered by taste from certain things. For example, when he chews on a stored sausage, he instantly remembers the moment he first tasted it from, which in this case happens to be the time Nicole was looking for a fondue pot in the shed. So believe the pot to be it, he quickly finds it and takes it to Nicole, but she still asks him about the thing. So he spends the rest of the afternoon tracing back his steps with the help of different tastes he experienced from his day. But no matter what he brings Nicole, he can't seem to get it right, until he remembers his mother, who was waiting at the bus station for hours. But once they arrive, they suddenly hear an announcement saying the station is closing. So they try to make a run for it, but Richard is the only one who manages to escape. So he goes back home to tell Nicole that he left his mom and children in a bus station. But instead of exploding, she showers him with affection. And this is when he remembers their conversation about dinner, and his offer to find a way to occupy his mom and kids while they have dinner, to which they do. This episode wrapped up in a strangely wholesome way. The build up and unknowing tone the episode created was very nicely done, ending in a moment for the two parents to share without the hassle or stress of family dinner.
I always kind of like that picture.
The portrait is the 5th best episode in my opinion, and it's about Nicole wanting an updated family picture to replace her old one. But after they kept getting interrupted by mother-in-laws, parents, and even supposed prisoners, she still pushes through with the idea of having a nice photo, with the help of Frankie, who sweet talks her into letting him help get everyone in line and straightened out, just in time for the photo. And after suspiciously offering to take the photo himself and slowly approaching his car, he makes a run for it, which causes the police to show up and arrest everybody except the Wattersons. And after Nicole shares her disappointment and sad emotions, her main family takes matters into their own hands and deliver a nice family photo during the chaos. This episode, again, is another wholesome episode, but with a more chaotic twist. Throughout the entire episode, we feel the intense and stressful state Nicole is under, and even with all the funny moments in the episode, we still feel bad for her. The combination of these two emotions, which can go from 0 to 100 in an instant, is great to see. The climb is the episode right after the portrait, and it's about Gumball facing his fear of climbing a rock wall after previously experiencing an extremely embarrassing moment. But to do this, he must first go through many different methods which don't work and make him lose hope, until he himself reaches within and learns to finally let go of that moment. And after waking up, he immediately faces the rock wall and begins to climb, using his new method. In my opinion, this is one of the funniest episodes in the show, to put it simply. I think it does a good job on the delivery and timing of each joke, alongside the visuals and scenes.
Well, I hope the answer's 8. How about your brain?
The Teacher is the 3rd best episode, and it follows Miss Simeon taking Gumball on a personal day of hers, after she took his phone away to use it for schoolwork. The first thing she does is physically confront the thief for taking her belongings, which prompts Gumball to call the police, while she beats on this criminal and ties him up in her car. And she continues to do criminal related activities for the rest of the episode. She confronts a pawn shop owner for money, which is done off camera but we hear the yells, and also forces Gumball to jump onto the school coach's moving vehicle on the highway to steal a bag from her, causing her to flip over and crash. And the last thing she does is take Gumball to a dark cave, which worries him, so he begins to attack her until she reveals that the cave is her home. She explains all the other activities and shows him a stack of laptops she saved up for, just for the kids. This episode honestly had it all. It had a lot of action, it was funny when it needed to be, and it also had an original concept and idea that I feel other episodes struggled with.
I've heard some disturbing sounds come out of Dad's gut, but this doesn't break the top 3.
The second episode is The Gut, and it's about Anais showing Richard a device that can give any organic thing a voice. And Richard accidentally swallows the device when Gumball put it on a hot dog and tossed it on the ground, because he never forgets the 5-second rule. And surprisingly, Richard's stomach begins to talk for itself, and unlike Richard, his stomach is actually pretty smart. So the stomach and Anais get along right away, but with every hour they spend together is another hour Richard goes without eating. So after his stomach takes full control of Richard's body when he doesn't get the energy he needs, the kids come up with a plan to use the 5-second rule against the stomach by throwing an old moldy piece of fungi thing on the ground, which does work and destroys Richard's stomach. Now look, I know some people might think, okay, how is this episode up here? All I have to say is, I found it interesting. Yes, for the entire episode, I was finding myself genuinely enjoying it. Experiencing the humor and lost bond between a father and daughter really made me like this episode in its entirety. The creative villain and creative solution also helped tie this episode together.
He does not smile kindly on traitors!
She's got your eyes.
Now for the number 1 spot, we have the Amadean. In this episode, Penny tricks Gumball into coming over to celebrate her grandma's 80th birthday with the rest of her clan. But to blend in, they must both wear shells Penny's father provided. And Penny understandably hesitates as she likes the way she is. But Gumball quickly caves in. And once they put on their shells, Gumball greets her family and tries to fit in any way possible. But he continuously embarrasses himself, especially after Penny sets him up over and over again. So he decides to go to the bathroom, and he mocks her family in the mirror before realizing Penny's grandma is in the bathroom too. But instead of folding this time, he stands up for Penny and confronts her. So Penny's grandma and family grab Gumball to show them something, but it's not what he expects. It's their real selves, finally accepting Gumball as one of their own. This episode is amazing. Not only do they further explain the hidden form of the Fitzgeralds after many years, but they do it in a way that makes sense and changes the viewer's expectations. This episode had funny, creepy, wholesome, emotional, and so many more tones that are all well addressed and wrapped into one 11-minute episode. Well guys, looks like that'll be it for today. Please comment down below your personal rankings of each episode or favorites in general. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you guys next time. Later. Also, don't forget to check out my other videos as well.